I want to show you guys something. So for those who've been following Wacky Jacky on Twitter, yes, he still does PUBG stuff, by the way. He took a full-time job doing something he loves, but he still does content creation part-time on the side. He just put together a really dope, basically ultimate PUBG stat tracking site in the modern age. And he asked me to give him some feedback, which I did. He made some changes. So I want to go pull up that website. Let's look at it together. PUBGweapons.com, by the way. PUBGweapons.com is the name of the website. It is in beta. It's a comprehensive weapon analysis tool for PUBG. Is going to be making some new additions to this. So if you haven't checked it out yet, you should, but also know that there are going to be more changes coming soon. So in here, on the left-hand side, kind of where my camera's blocking, there are weapon categories: sniper, DMR, LMG. So you click on that, and then all of the weapons pop up here. DMRs, LMGs, assault rifles, etc. Okay. Then there's a new button that he added to compare weapons. Up top, you can select what gear, armor that you want to compare against. So you can have a no helmet, level 1, level 2, level 3, no vest, level 1, level 2, level 3, or a broken vest, which gives like I think it's a base like 15% reduction. Does it say here? It doesn't say the percentage, but it's like a base level reduction that a broken vest will still give you. And of course, you get the extra carrying capacity. So you can choose what vest your player has. Then you can ask the website to give you damage per bullet, hits to kill, time to kill, and the distance away that your target is. And as you can see, as I use the scroll wheel, look at all the numbers that change on the weapons. So this is going to take into account the damage drop off of the weapons and the average bullet velocity over distance and the total bullet velocity over distance. So really, really cool, very powerful tool that you can use. And so on top of us actually taking a look at this for Wacky, giving him our feedback, obviously I want you guys to give me any feedback you have as well, and I'll funnel that to him. I also wanted to pull this up to show to make a point about specifically ARs versus SMGs, because we all know that SMGs are very strong with limb damage multiplier, right? Hip fire accuracy, spray and pray. You don't even need an ADS, all that kind of stuff, right? So just show you. So where is the top dog AR? It's the AUG. So you click on the AUG, top dog AR. So it has a base damage of 41. Player health, you can put at any number, but I'm going to leave it at 100 health. We're going to do a level 2 gear target, right? So level 2 helmet, level 2 vest. And we're going to go... I asked him to add in here damage per second, which he did add. Oh, nice. He added already. Sick. So he actually added in the damage per second option, which I think is one of the most important factors when looking at like how strong a weapon is. Time to kill, the TTK, is obviously very important, and it's almost the same thing as damage per second. So you have damage per second, how much damage your weapon does per second, and then you have time to kill. How quickly will you kill that target based on all these factors, based on your armor, your helmet, how far away the target is, where you hit the target, all of that matters, okay? So just look at this quick comparison. Here's the AUG against a level 2 gear target. Assuming you hit all headshots, time to kill 0.083 seconds. SMG, well, I actually want to look at the compare stat because he just added that too. The top dog SMG world spawn is going to be MP5K. Obviously the MP9 or the whatever JS9, whatever those other ones are, like on Destin and Rondo, those are actually a little bit stronger, but they're not world spawn. Okay, so world spawn, MP5K, 0.133 seconds. Again, AUG 0.083. What happens if I do the compare? Let me see this. If I click AUG versus second weapon, let's see. MP5. Oh, this is, look, this is nice. Look at this. This is nice. Okay. So we got to learn how to read this thing real quick. So blue, if it's outlined in blue, that's the AUG. Outlined in orange is the SMG. If that's how I'm understanding this correctly. So the time to kill for the AUG is lower than it is on the MP5K. Time to kill in the head is lower. So that's at 0 meters, right? So if I go out any longer, the more you increase this, the bigger that difference becomes, right? Because SMGs have more damage fall off. So 50 meters away, 0.14 seconds for the AUG, 0.27 seconds for the MP5K. So almost double the time to kill with an MP5K. Now, if you start looking at other places though, like the legs, obviously because you get limb damage multiplier, right? The difference starts to shrink. So the AUG is 0.391, so almost 0.4 seconds. And the MP5K is 0.471, so a little bit more than 0.4, almost like 0.5 seconds. Still a little bit more than the AUG. And so I just wanted to show that just to reinforce that the assault rifles are actually still stronger weapons, bullet for bullet. The problem is that it takes way less skill to use the SMGs than the assault rifles because of way less recoil, and now you have hip fire accuracy increase. You have less of a movement speed penalty when strafing, so you're able to be a harder to hit target while moving and spraying your SMG, and you don't really have to be concerned with hitting them in the head versus the leg because you're doing pretty good damage all over the place, right? And yeah, so there are other SMGs that are stronger, right? So if you go look at the UMP is the strongest per bullet SMG, just as an example. Look at the UMP, and if you reduce the distance a little bit here, so the UMP is 0.09 seconds for a headshot. This is close range, right? Like you're up close and personal. 0.09 versus 0.08 with the AUG. It's slightly lower than the AUG, but because the UMP has a much slower bullet velocity, 400 meters per second versus 890 meters per second, as soon as you start to add distance, you see the UMP start to fall off significantly, because the longer you're going to be away from your target, the longer that bullet has to travel, and the more time it's going to take to reach that target, right? So again, I'm just pulling this quick comparison up to show, first of all, this website is dope as shit. Wacky did a killer job on this website, and I will have some more feedback for him. Let me know what feedback you guys have. The other thing is that it is actually still stronger assault rifle over the SMG, okay? If you go to a level 3 gear target, some of you might be thinking, well, what if you just shoot in the leg against level 3? So if you go close range, like 50 meters, let's go back to the MP5K. SMG MP5K. Again, blue is AUG, orange is MP5. So if you shoot a level 3 helmet wearing target at 50 meters with the AUG is 0.2 seconds versus shooting him in the leg with the SMG, 0.471 seconds. So still significantly longer to kill in the leg versus the head, but the leg is way easier to hit. There's literally 2 of them, and there's this huge, body of target you can hit versus a small little head. And of course, that head could be constantly moving if someone's wiggle, leaning, all that kind of stuff. So taking all that into consideration, I say that because I still think the discussion shouldn't be about how do we get players to upgrade or to graduate to an assault rifle. I feel like the discussion should be about how do we make weapons unique and niche for their own use cases. So, like, for example, SMGs are, in my opinion, should be the close quarter combat weapon, like SMGs and shotgun too, of course. But in this example, the SMG should be dominant up close. You should be able to move maybe a little bit faster with an SMG. The reload speed is going to be quicker with an SMG. There's going to be inherently less recoil with an SMG. And even if the damage per bullet was a little bit higher, I don't think that would be a bad thing. But to balance that, the SMGs should have significant damage drop off over a distance, meaning your damage per bullet at 0 meters is 36. At 50 meters, it's still 33. At 100 meters, it's 28. Is that really deterring you from using your SMG at 0 to 100 meters? Because 100 meters, that's a long distance away. That's not clearing compounds. And so what I wish PUBG would focus on is not how do we get players to use an easier to use weapon class, for new players. I wish PUBG focused more on how do we create or balance classes of weapons with you know, say SMGs being dominant up close, higher damage per bullet, easier to use in terms of recoil, but much slower bullet velocity and a much higher damage drop off over distance. Whereas assault rifles are going to suffer a bit more up close because your character's going to move a little bit slower. The ADS speed maybe a little bit longer. The reload speed's a little bit longer. But as soon as you start to get out of that compound and into the next rotation of the circle, the assault rifle is going to get a lot stronger because it has way better bullet velocity. The damage over distance is stronger. You can do higher scope sprays better. So it really creates a tactical decision for the player to have to choose what they want to do for that particular situation. So if you see the circle ending in a city, maybe that triggers your brain to go, shit, maybe I should look at picking up an SMG for the later parts of this game, or, you know, vice versa. You start the hot drop, I'm looking for a shotgun or an SMG in a compound, but once I see the circle shifted to phase 2 or phase 3, it's kind of getting onto the hills, I think maybe it's time I pick up an assault rifle to finish up that part of the circle, because I'll have a benefit for doing that to my, you know, to my play style later. But where it is right now, you don't really have to take that into consideration. You can kind of use one weapon for everything. You can pick up, you know, your AUG in the beginning and your Mark 12 in the beginning, and you kind of carry that through the whole game. So that's what I wish. I wish PUBG focused more on how do we create differences in these classes of weapons to force a player to make a tactical decision on which weapon they want to use given their playstyle and the circle situation, versus how do we make a weapon meta? And that's what I feel like PUBG is doing right now, is how do we make a weapon meta, and how do we make a whole class of weapons extremely easy for new players. Back to the feedback for Wacky. What do you guys see? What would you like to see on this website specifically? Anything that you notice that you think would be pretty fun? One thing that's going to be a coming soon feature is he's trying to incorporate AI into this website. So the AI would basically allow you to do high-powered analysis for different situations. Like where, like, I guess you could maybe, for example, ask the game, what's the best weapon that I should use for this situation? At a target at this distance, maybe with this circle, this much health, and it would just tell you, here's the best weapon to use for that situation. Also, he's looking at trying to incorporate recoil comparisons in with the AI. So like, not only are you going to have these base stats of the weapon displayed, but you would also have the, you know, average recoil of that weapon displayed and being able to compare it to the other weapons. And then on top of that, I said, well, what if you also added attachments to that recoil comparison? So you could pull up, you know, we could have, oh man, I really like SMGs, but I'm not sure which one to use, man. The UMP does more damage, but the MP5K shoots faster. What should I do? You could pull this up, look at the different stats, and then also see which one's actually easy to control with the recoil. And then you could go, what attachments should I put on the gun, and how does that change the recoil? And another thing I said to him, which I don't know if the API even pulls this, or if you even need the API to pull this, is it'd be kind of fun to see what most people were using during a given time. Like, so for season 33, it would tell you, like up here, like if you put like season 33 assault rifle, whatever, it would say, hey, here's the most popular weapons for this season, and here's the most popular attachments for those weapons this season. It's like, what weapons are getting the most kills, and what attachments are people using for those weapons? That could be kind of a fun feature to put in there, maybe, you know? Would he be able to import player data from PUBG Lookup? Well, PUBG Lookup gets its data from PUBG, from the API. So yeah, if he wanted to have it set up where it pings the API for those things, yeah, he could. He could get player stats and all that kind of stuff. Mobile version, API calls to PUBG reports, PUBG stats, Twitch, and Discord, creating a one-stop shop for all PUBG, even a marketplace for players if and when PUBG does that. Interesting. So basically you'd say combine PUBG Lookup. So on PUBG Lookup, if you go to your website, or your profile rather, when you log in, you have all your stats, right? You have your season stats, your match stats, lifetime stats, all that stuff. So much data is pulled into PUBG Lookup, which is an awesome website. Then you have it where you can go straight to clips of you, or PUBG report where people have killed you or you have killed other people. So that's already integrated there. And then what was the other thing you were saying? Discord and Twitch. Okay, yeah. So Discord and Twitch integration. What would that give you though? What would be the benefit of that, Beard? Would be nice too if PUBG has an API, not just with stats, but your stats with certain guns in it. Yes, I agree. It would be dope to have an AI tell me which weapon would suit me best based on my playstyle and engagements from Replay API. That's an interesting one. So the game would like look up potentially your profile, go to like your last 100 matches, maybe take a bunch of things into consideration like distance traveled, average distance where you took an engagement, like where you shot at somebody, like took all this stuff into account and was like, look, based on all this shit, you should probably use this weapon, and based on that weapon, this is like the best attachments, these are the best attachments to use for that weapon. That'd be cool. That'd be like a crazy powerful AI tool too. So one thing that I thought was interesting, chat, is sniper, compare weapons, Car 98, M24, level 2 helmet. Distance doesn't really matter because damage doesn't start to drop off until what, 120 meters, give or take ish. So I know, like most of you know, the Car 98 does more damage than the M24, but the M24 has a faster bullet velocity, and of course you can put an extended magazine in it, and because of those things you can shoot a little bit faster as well, right? So there's some known benefits to the Car 98 versus the M24. It even says here, I know my head's kind of blocking it, but it says the time between shot for a Car 98 is 1.5 seconds. Time between shot for an M24 is 1.4 seconds, so a little bit faster to shoot. Car 98 is 79 base damage. M24 is 75 base damage. Bullet velocity for the M24 is 815. Bullet velocity for the Car 98 is 780. I thought though, and let me know if you guys thought this too, I might be the only one, I thought that the M24 took 2 shots to the neck to kill, and the Car 98 was 1 shot to the neck. But according to this stat resource, I'm wrong. I was wrong in that. It's 2 shots for the Car 98 and 2 shots for the M24. M24 is orange, Car 98 is blue. So it is more damage. Like the Car 98 does 83 damage versus 79 damage to the M24, but neither one is a 1-shot kill with a level 2 helmet. And with a level 1 helmet, neither one is a 1-shot kill to the neck. And I thought for the longest time that the M24 was 2 in the neck and the Car 98 was 1. What is also interesting, as you can see here, hits to kill in the upper chest with an M24 is 3. Everywhere else is 3. But the Car 98 is only 2 to the upper chest. So this is the most armored part of the body. And it does take only 2 shots with the Car 98 versus 3 with the M24. I don't know if that's enough to sway you to use one or the other, but I thought it was interesting. Then when you look at over distance, like you say at 200 meters, at 200 meters, still the same thing as in terms of hit to kill, but the time to target is 0.27 seconds with an M24 and 0.273 seconds with a Car 98. So it's as near as makes no difference. But if you both hit each other in the head with a Car 98 and an M24 at the same time, or you shoot at the same time rather, the M24 is going to win the trade. Like if both of you hit each other in the head, but the M24 shoots first, that means the M24's bullet lands first, does the headshot damage, kills you, and the Car 98 damage gets null and void, does not count. Then at 300 meters, interesting, it actually evens out. Both of them are 0.424 time to target at 300 meters. That's interesting. So the M24 has a harder velocity drop off than a Kar 98. It's very interesting. I didn't know that. So what happens like at long range, like 500 meters? Interesting. 0.779 to 0.754. Wow. I didn't know that. So max distance, 1,000 meters, 1.9, 1.7. Damn. This is a cool freaking sight, dude. Kar and Mosin are identical. Yeah. Mosin. So all the and my head's blocking it, but all the numbers are the same here. Like literally copy pasta. Same thing. It's just a different skin and it sounds a bit different. So the Mosin technically is a little quieter with a suppressor than a Kar 98, but that's it. Can you compare what's up, Zach? The best DMR and the worst DMR? Sure. Best DMR, World Spawn, of course. So if you obviously you don't count World Spawn, Mark 14's the top. But World Spawn, you'd have what right now it's the Mark 12. Again, World Spawn, every map. And the top, well, it depends on what you say best. Like damage per second, the SLR is going to be higher. Look at this. Damage per second of the SLR, 560. Damage per second of the Dragunov, 180. Crazy difference damage per second just because of how fast you can spam the shot. But, the Dragunov obviously has the one hit potential. It has a higher damage per bullet at 60 damage per bullet as opposed to 56. But the worst DMR would be the VSS right now. Average sniping distance, 150 meters or so. The time to kill for a Mark 12 is 0.279 seconds. For a VSS is 0.54 in the head. Look at a Dragunov. Dragunov is orange, 0.52. SLR, 0.29, a little bit slower than a Mark 12. SKS, 0.3. Mini 14, 0.265. It's actually a little bit faster time to kill because of the 990 meters per second initial velocity, but it does have a lower damage per second overall. Not to mention the Mini 14 sucks. QBU, 0.265. QBU is actually really strong. 480 DPS. Mark 14 is ironically less. It's actually a higher damage, a higher time to kill in the head than for a level 2 gear target, but much higher damage per second. And the reason why it's a higher time is because of its slower bullet velocity. That's why 5.56 DMRs are so dominant right now. High bullet velocity, lower ammo weight, so weighs less in your backpack. Bullet travels farther, faster. You can spam them more, less recoil. That's why people really love Mark 12 and the Mini 14. But with this nerf or the change to the aim punch, if and when that ever happens, 7.62 DMRs are going to have, they're going to give you more aim punch. What is the highest velocity for sniper rifle? What's the AWM, right? Let's see. AWM has 1,200 meters per second. Oh, I'm sorry. A Lynx AMR. Sorry. Lynx AMR is 1,200 meters per second. So here, 1,200. The AWM is 954, followed by the M24 at 815, and the Kar 98 and the Mosin at 780, and the Winchester at 760. They need to do my Winchester something nice, man. They're killing me over here. Killing me, man. Mini is meta. I just do. The Mini is so poo-poo. I hate it. Like, look, the Mini. You got to remember, the Mini has 48 base damage versus 50 on the Mark 12. So when you're not hitting headshots, that really comes into play. I know it's only 2. I get it. It's only 2. But we've all had the Mini 14. We've all spammed people like 7 times. Like, why the hell are they not dying? They're dying. They're living with a sliver of health. I mean, a sliver of health. So like, look, hits to kill is the same, right? 4 shots to the upper chest with the Mini versus a Mark 12. It's the same. But if you look at the actual damage, there's a difference. It's about a 1 damage difference too. So when you leave somebody with 1 HP, that's the difference. You're using the wrong gun. And then of course, when you go higher distances, it's even more. So will the bolt guns have more aim punch? Bolt guns will give more aim punch than DMRs, but that's not coming for sure. That's just in the labs mode right now. Mini bullet velocity and drop off, can't beat that. Let's take a look. So the Mini 14 has a average bullet velocity of 835 meters per second, up to 300 meters, compared to 769 with the Mark 12. So Mark 12 falls off significantly. Agreed. Time to target, 0.39 seconds versus 0.35 seconds. Yeah, that's big. The Mini 14 sucks, man. God, it sounds so stupid too. Chink, 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 chink. Stupid gun. You think PUBG would ever had spy planes or RCXDs in the future? Well, they had drones in the past and they took them out, so probably not. Oh, what about JS9 versus MP9? You'll never find those on separate on the same map, but just curious. Close range, 50 meters. JS9 has 1 more damage, but it has a slightly lower, or the MP9 has a slightly lower time between shots and a faster rate of fire, giving it a higher damage per second. So, MP9 OP. Yep, MP9 has a lower time to kill. MP9 is Destin only, and JS9 is Rondo only. Interesting. Fastest rate of fire is Vector SMG. Yeah, I think the Vector and the what you call it, MG3 have like 990 rounds per minute. Like they're bullet hoses. Let's see. Vector is, oh, I'm sorry, I lied. 1100 rounds per minute. I don't know if that's actually right. Okay. Because I was sworn when they announced the LMG, this is a long time ago, 990. When they announced the LMG, I thought they said, because it has 2 fire rates. The faster fire rate is 990. I thought they said the faster fire rate is the same as a Vector. I might be just remembering that wrong because it's been a long time. But anywho, Vector is stupid fast, and the MG3 brat. And I don't think any other SMG really comes close. What's a P90? 1100? That's pretty fucking close. Yeah. Obviously, it's crate gun. MP5K is 901. MP9 is 1000. MP9 is basically the P90 world spawn or Destin spawn. JS9 is 900. It's a Vector. The Uzi's got to be fast too, huh? 1250. Yeah, the Uzi's 1250. Good grief. That day, sheesh. They're good at Uzi. Brr. Magazine's empty. Here you go. That's wild. Time to kill for the Uzi beats the Vector up until 30 meters away. Once you're 30 meters away, the faster bullet velocity of the Vector beats it. Best SMG to use for distance. Well, honestly, it depends, man. I mean, I guess you can look at the stats here and kind of figure out what's got the best DPS over distance, but like something like an UMP is going to have the highest damage per bullet at 42 damage. So it does a stupid amount of damage at distance. 0.37 seconds time to kill at 100 meters. But I always think having a higher rate of fire is better. So like an MP5K would be better. MP5K is 0.42. So it's a little slower in the time to kill at 100 meters than a UMP. But you're shooting way more bullets. So you're way more likely to hit some shots, even if it's not in the head. You're more likely to get, limb shots and limb damage multiplier and that kind of stuff, The Bison's great too. That's a great point because a big magazine, put a 6X on it, not a lot of recoil. That's a good point. Bison's great. Yeah, Narish is right. This is still beta, of course. Yo, thank you, Ermis. Appreciate it, buddy. Do you think they should buff the attachments for the gun so it won't shake as much? I just think they should reduce weapon shake, like screen shake. I'm not a fan of that. This is PUBGweapons.com. It's a Wacky Jackie's new beta website for all of your one-stop shop needs for PUBG stats. Maybe the rate of fire of the Vector changed with the move to... yeah, maybe. When the MG3 came out, it might have still been 45. I truly don't remember, though. I could just be remembering it wrong. That's more likely. Yeah, so this is a sick-ass website.